Good evening, this is Lorena, and I am here to talk about the ministry of Oral Roberts according to Clinton's ministry empowerment and emergence patterns. Um, I have been observing the ministry of Oral Roberts for about 2 years now. I did Spirit Empowered Living and now Spirit Empowered Leadership. And I was taken last year by the way that Oral Robert was as far as a person and the way that he preached. And it always took me how kind and gentle he was, how he will express the way that Jesus might have been when he was walking here on earth. After reading the book and after reading Clinton's book about ministry empowerment, I saw one thing, or I learned something that was outstanding, which was the life of Oral Roberts and the way that he grew up. He grew up in a humble home with a humble beginning, being sick and having trouble to speak. I think those were things that God gave him in His sovereignty, in His wisdom. He allowed things in Oral Roberts' life that made him grow up with a very humble heart. What can you expect from life when life, it's so hard and so maybe sad or just difficult? And as he grew and as he encountered God in healing and empowerment in ministry, I believe that Oral Roberts was already set in his humble ways. He never grew up to be prideful. He always kept that memory, that base of being humble and knowing that everything he had came from God. Um, I think that as he went and as he received the blessings of God, he grew up to be more powerful, but still always trusting and believing that everything that he had was a blessing, that he will continue to be who he was going to be, a humble and gentle and kind person, and that he always knew that God could put you in a lower place. And I think with that knowledge, we can grow up to be stronger but never prideful, or, to not rely much on ourselves for everything we receive. When we have nothing and God gives us, we know where it comes from. And I know that Oral Roberts understood that. He tested every word that he received from God. He was bold and he was brave to push forward with things that seem impossible, trusting that God will make it possible. And he wasn't afraid to fail. Not being afraid to fail allow us to do more, to try more. I believe that the world lives on failure. They have failed to recognize the Savior, and I think as believers, as Oral Robert was, um, he will do things that maybe anyone within the world will try, um, and make a form of victory. But with God, even those losses become true victories, because what doesn't change in the physical can always change in the spiritual. Makes us to rely more on God, to trust Him more. And Oral Roberts was a great example of that walk we're supposed to walk. Um, it's been great to study and read about his life, and it's great to be in this university that carries his name as a amazing man of God that he was, and what he has left for us to learn and to follow as an example. So thank you so much, and you guys have a good evening. We'll see you next time.